there. It's kind of hot to be back here doing what I'm doing in the woods, but on October the 15th, archery season for deer opens in this zone in Lower Alabama. And I've got to do some getting ready for that. I've got a spot that I'm working my way to, clearing a trail, cutting a trail, so I have a safe way in and out. In the morning I'll be coming out here before daylight. I need to be sure that I don't have anything that's going to poke an eye out and things like that. And then in the evening, getting back after dark, I need a safe trail to get back to the cabin on. What I'm standing in here is a little piece of history that I discovered several years ago. It's an old road bed, and when I first found this piece of history, I thought that it might perhaps be an old railroad bed, but I got to talking to one of the neighbors last year, and someone who's lived in this area all his life, and he doesn't, and his parents and his grandparents, and he does not recall there ever being a rail through here, but he does recall back here in these woods someplace there was a turpentine still. And that makes really good sense because it's an area where at one time turpentine, harvesting pine sap and cooking it down, I think they called them crackers, distilling the turpentine out of the pine sap was a big business. It was an important business. And it's kind of a neat place, a neat little piece of history right here, a few hundred yards from the cabin. I'm gonna keep on going. I got a ways to go yet to get to where I want to be. We made it. What I'm looking at is a clearing there's a lot of open area in it. There's still a lot of wild blueberries and things like that. There's a little bluff here. Here to my right is a great place to build a ground blind. There's a lot of natural vegetation that I can add to. If I wanted to sit right there, I could build a blind here. And there's also a really good pine tree, 25, 30 feet, maybe 40 feet from me, where I can put my ladder stand. I talked about archery season opening up October 15th. Alabama has changed their stipulations again, and I know it's for a good, a good reason. And when our archery season opens up in this particular zone, the first 10 days of it will be bucks only. After the 25th of October, it will become legal to harvest does. If you're on private land or leased land, something like that. Public land, there's a specific doe season later in the year. Now, I know a lot of people in this world that we live in today get really squirrely when you start talking about killing animals. And I want to go on the record and say I don't like to kill anything. I just don't. I don't derive any pleasure at all from killing an animal. And I've killed a lot of animals in my almost 65 years of playing in the woods, if you will. Now, I've also told a number of people, and I'll go on record publicly saying that if I didn't need to kill deer to put meat in the freezer so that Mrs. David Crowley Outdoors and I have that resource for meat on our table, if I did not need to kill a deer, I would never kill another deer. I get too much pleasure out of just watching them. In fact, my season last year was rather interrupted because we started watching the deer on the game camera and noticing the fawns with the mothers and things like that, and we just kind of fell in love with looking at the pictures. So this year I'm going to try to not succumb to that, because last year I only killed one deer. It was a doe, and we kind of we shorted ourselves in the meat department that way. Now, I've got a bit of work to do back here to get this ready. At least I've got a trail cut into it, and it took about an hour and a half of brush cutting and that sort of thing. Part of that included making this video. Going to the woods with the camera is a different that's a different beast altogether. But now that I've got a good access back here to this spot, I can move my ladder stand back, I can get a ground blind built, and get set up for opening day of archery season. Folks, I want to again express my appreciation to you, our subscribers, to everyone that views these videos, and that means an awful lot to us. And one of the things that I'm going to do this fall, this season, this hunting season, is tastefully chronicle the process of harvesting a deer from the wild and taking it from a deer on the hoof in the wild to meat in the freezer. And I hope you'll stay tuned for those. I appreciate everybody that's been commenting on the videos. It means a lot, it helps a lot. And I'm going to squat here for a few minutes and just listen to the sounds of the woods, and then make my way back to the cabin. Thanks for watching. Thanks for subscribing. And I'll see you on the next one.